What's happening, everybody? Trey here, and today, reactions to the classics. It is time to get our grunge on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be doing a reaction and review to the soundtrack from the movie Singles, all the way back from 1992. And I want to shout out our longtime patron and friend of the channel, Mark, for suggesting this for us to dive into today. I will say at the start, I have not seen the movie yet. I was looking, it wasn't streaming anywhere, but it is now on my watch list. I'm looking forward to checking it out, just reading up on kind of the plot of it. And man, we'll just get into the quick facts of this real quick. Singles is the original soundtrack album to the 92 film of the same name, primarily focused on the Seattle grunge scene of the early 90s. It also features contributions from Minneapolis's Paul Westerberg, his first solo material after the breakup of one of my personal favorite bands of all time, The Replacements, Chicago's The Smashing Pumpkins, and past Seattle artist, another one of my favorites, Jimi Hendrix, and then the Mongers, who and Nancy Wilson of Heart were with, the latter of whom was the wife of the film director's Cameron Crowe at the time. It was released in June of 1992. The soundtrack is considered to have helped open the door actually to the explosive popularity of the Seattle grunge scene in the early 90s. According to Steve Huey of AllMusic, quote, Singles helped crystallize the idea of the Seattle scene in the mainstream public's mind, and it was also one of the first big selling 90s movie soundtracks. It went platinum actually and reached the top 10, which is pretty impressive for a soundtrack, and it featured largely new work from contemporary artists. It's a milestone in the breakthrough of alternative rock into mainstream popular culture, nearly and effectively packaging the Seattle phenomenon for the wider national consciousness. In April, the album was ranked 19 on Rolling Stone's list of top 50 greatest grunge records of all time. Kind of perusing the listing here, man. I'm really excited. I think I only know a few of these tracks. The Hendrix tune, May This Be Love, our opener in Wood, and shoot, that might be it. So everything else, man, gonna be kind of new, even though I'm a fan of a lot of the groups that are on here. We got some Pearl Jam, of course. We got a couple Paul Westerberg. We got Soundgarden, Mudhoney, so Screaming Trees even, and of course Smashing Pumpkins. So I'm a big fan of grunge, of the scene at the time, man. That sound just resonates with me all these years later. And so I want to shout out Mark again for suggesting this to us. I'm going to have the lyrics pulled up for all of these songs, and if copyright happens, there's going to be a link in the description to where you can check out the full video uncut. You know how YouTube is, man, with the music. It's kind of a pain, man, but hey, we do what we must. So thanks again to Mark, and we're just going to start this off, ladies and gentlemen, with one of my favorite songs of the 90s, and you know, maybe my favorite grunge track of all time, actually. We're starting this off with Alice in Chains' iconic closer to the record Dirt, with the song Wood, written by guitarist and vocalist Jerry Cantrell as a tribute to his friend Andrew Wood, lead vocalist of Mother Love Bone, who died in 1990. Cantrell sings the verses of the song, and then we have the great Lane Staley singing the choruses. In the liner notes of 1999's Music Bank box set, Jerry Cantrell said, quote, I was thinking a lot of Andrew Wood at the time. We would always have a great time when we did hang out, much like Chris Cornell and I do. There was never really a serious moment or conversation. It was all fun. Andy was a hilarious guy, full of life, and it was really sad to lose him. But I always hate people who judge the decisions others make, so it was also directed towards people who pass judgment. Says the single went to 20 in the UK. It was named one of the top tracks of the 90s by Pitchfork magazine. If you've never heard it, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. The MTV Unplugged edition of this track is also fantastic if you're familiar with the song but aren't familiar with that. But enough of this talk, man. Let's just get diving into the soundtrack with Wood. Wood starting us off, man. One of my favorite but honestly, man, this is one of my favorite songs of all time, not just in the 90s, not just in the grunge scene. There's just so much I love about it, from that gritty bass line that starts off the track to Jerry's kind of more subtle vocals going in, then to where the great Lane Staley rocks the chorus, man. His soaring voice is so impressive. I really think Cornell's the only other vocalist in the grunge scene, man, all due respect to Eddie Vedder better, man, and Kurt. But I think Lane and Chris are the two vocalists that always impress me the most coming out of the Seattle scene, man. And just the lyricism as well, just packs so much in just 3.5 minutes. I just love when Lane goes into the flood again. Same old trip it was back then. It always makes me conjure up almost a relapse in a sense, not of drugs, though you could obviously read that into it, but of any situation, whether it be mental health issues or just going back into something that you don't desire. He says, same old trip it was back in. So I made a big mistake. Try to see it once my way. That seeing things from other people's perspective, man. As a counselor, that's one of the main traits I try to employ. Have that empathy with others, and that's something that's, I think, lacking majorly here in the States, at least, is seeing things from others' point of view, recognizing that not everybody has that same life experience. And I think we think sometimes, if I was in this person's position, I could be where they are, and I might have taken some of the turns that they did that on the outside, people might be looking, oh, I can't believe they did this or that. You just got to kind of think for a minute, man. And then a very good guitar solo by Cantrell before we go to the outro. Those questions: am I wrong? Have I gone run too far to get home? Have I gone left you here alone? Am I wrong? Have I run too far to get home? And then he finishes, if I would, could you? Yet again, kind of bringing that together. If I would do all this stuff in my position, could you do this if you were in mine as well? Would you go down? Would you, maybe go into drugs? Obviously, the tragedy of Lane Staley happened, afterwards. Withered down to under 100 pounds, man. Died alone, unfortunately, man. And one of the big tragedies, I think, of just music history, man, his story. But a powerful, powerful tune, man. And next up, we got the track Breath from Pearl Jam, which has its origins all the way back to 1990. It originated as an instrumental demo called Doobie E, written by Stone Gossard, and then the lyrics were, of course, written by Eddie Vedder. It was the first demo they ever did as a band, so let's get it. All right, Breath, Pearl Jam. Ooh, what a track this was, man. And you could tell just sonically, and obviously when the time it was released, I think this would have fit in perfect on 10. But I think Eddie's enunciations and the way his cadence was a bit unique as well, a bit different than what I'm used to hearing him saying. Had moments where he really let his voice just go unrestrained, get really high up, which I enjoyed. It kind of exuded some passion right there, man. And there was just a sense of newness almost in the track, I guess you could say, as well. Oh, reach the door, a breath and a scream. Life ain't what it's worth, a breath and a scream. Oh, reach the door. So I just interpreted that as you're going out, you're trying to reach that goal, reach that door, whatever the case may be, and you just you got to take it one breath at a time. And that doesn't mean there ain't gonna be some screams and some pain in there, though, I think, at the same time. And then McCready's guitar solo to end us off, man, a bit bluesy at points, and he's such an impressive guitarist, man. I thought he killed it, man. I really enjoyed that song, and I'll leave it there, man. And next up, going to another one of my favorites, the great Chris Cornell, with the track Seasons. 2012, a fan attending Chris's concert in Paris asked him, what is Seasons about? Chris said, Seasons was written in a time when Seattle was moving so fast, I just wanted to slow it all down. Bravo, blown away by this one, man. Like, you already know, gotta give the heart on Spotify right there to Chris Cornell, man, killing it with Seasons. Melody, such a gorgeous melody right there. The dueling guitars on this track were just such a great decision, and just gave the song a bit of that fullness, I guess you could say, yet still allowed for Cornell's lyrics and just otherworldly voice to shine here. You could see the range in Chris's voice, especially when we got to that fourth verse where he went in that high register, if I should be short on words to say and long on things to say. Could you crawl into my mind and take me worlds away, and hit that high ooh note, which was just marvelous, man. I think that the lyricism as well just really was reflecting that sense of maybe depression, of alienation and loneliness, that who knows, that Cornell might have been feeling at the time, as the seasons of Seattle in the music were changing so rapidly. Great imagery right here, that hook, and I'm lost behind the words I'll never find, and I'm left behind as seasons roll on by. And just as the song progresses, you kind of get more and more insight into why he's feeling this way, why he's feeling a bit bleak and left behind in the world, man. So a really powerful tune that I would think is going to be in my favorites, man. As we get to the end here, what a way to start this soundtrack off. And now I'm really excited as we go to Dyslexic Heart by Paul Westerberg and see what he's going to bring forth. The replacements, man, just they get to the heart, for me at least, of that kind of growing up aspect, feeling a bit of a fish out of water at times. And I think Westerberg is just a marvelous songwriter that doesn't get brought up as much maybe as he should. So let's see what he's got for us here. All right, Dyslexic Heart, Paul Westerberg bringing it, man, starting with a harmonica, which I didn't expect, man, before going into quite the catchy tune here, man. You had the just the chorus itself, and a very Westerberg-ism, if I can use that as a phrase. I try and comprehend you, but I got a dyslexic heart. I ain't dying to offend you, but I got a dyslexic heart. Easy, man, to sing along to, and just the coolness that Westerberg delivers those lines with, is solid. And it's kind of sonically reminded me, as the guitar was going in, with some of those later replacement records, Don't Tell a Soul, All Shook Down, which get derided by some Mats fans. Of course, it's not up to their mid-'80s classic period, but they've still got some good jams to it, man. And I feel like this would not have been out of place on either of those records here. I like we have some of that literary imagery brought up, bringing it with the dyslexic. He notes, you shooting glances and they're so hard to read. I misconstrue what you mean. Slip me a napkin and now that's a start. Is that your name or a doctor's eye chart? I just thought that was a clever line right there. We bring up the library and more kind of book metaphors, if you will. So put that in with the whole nah 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 nah, which I still don't know how big a fan I'm of that nah 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 portion. I think it maybe takes a little bit of the bite out of the tune, but Westerberg was probably meaning this to be a nice lighthearted song anyway, man. So a good tune right here, and he's still got one more, I believe, on this soundtrack coming up. So looking forward to that, and get another one I gotta add to the hearted list. And now we're gonna go to a cover of the Led Zepp tune Battle of Evermore, of course, off of Led Zepp 4, one of the most iconic records ever. This is gonna be by the Mongers, original, of course, by Robert Plant and Sandy Denny. And so yeah, man, we're gonna dive into it. A lot of kind of folky imagery in this track, and I'm really looking forward to how Anne and Nancy put in the work here on this one. All right, the Mongers, Battle of Evermore, man. Live performance, you wouldn't know it though, unless you had that crowd performance, because the voices were very, very great here, man. Love the guitar that is just so in your face, and this dual, kind of female vocal really fits well, especially when you're so used to hearing a Plant belted out, with the great Sandy Denny as well. I don't have too much more to add other than I think it's a very well-written song, great imagery in here, fits with that fantasy type of vibe that a lot of Zepp tunes at the time did, and yet you can pull it out and cover it here. I know that the Wilson sisters are big Zepp fans. There's a famous cover they did, A Stairway to Heaven, I believe in front of Robert Plant, that has a lot of views on YouTube if you can check it out. But the great use here, as we're a handful of tracks in on the track listing as well. We started off really in that heavy kind of grunge sphere. Then Westerberg gave us a little bit of a breather on the the heaviness, and then this obviously totally different in left field as well. Gives you something different, keeps the soundtrack fresh. And so now we are going to go to the next song, which is not on Spotify. It's Chloe Dancer / Crown of Thorns from Mother Love Bone. It's on their debut EP Shine, and it's 2 songs sequenced together. Chloe Dancer is about the lead singer Andy Wood's muse / fiance Xana Lafuente, who had planned to be a stripper to support the pair but left the club after 1 hour. And then Crown of Thorns was written about their nasty breakup over his on-again and off-again dabbling in heroin, which he unfortunately, of course, died from. Quote, "This song is about a relationship ruined by drugs," she explains. "He wrote it about our near breakup and how I tried to control him and the drugs, hence his allusion to being tied to the ceiling." It has a lot of critical acclaim and was featured in another one of Cameron Crowe's films, Say Anything, but was not included on that film soundtrack, so Crowe was able to put it in on this one. So it's on YouTube, so let's check this one out. Wow, Mother Love Bone, the 1-2 punch, Chloe Dancer and Crown of Thorns. Man, what a... I don't know if I've ever heard a Mother Love Bone song, maybe on a live stream here or there, but man, Andy Wood has just got a very powerful voice, man. I could just feel the authenticity of it as well, man. I could feel that he meant every word that he was singing to us here, and started off very a bit laid back, somber with that piano riff within Chloe Dancer, and again just kind of describing what I said at the start. Chloe dances the tables in the French Quarter. She's always been given, so I can't always make her laugh, but I'm proud to say, and I won't forget the time spent laying by her side. So we have this love here, even amidst some situations that people wouldn't deem love worthy, stripping and whatnot. So you could feel that love between them, and then we transition. That's only about a 2.5-minute song. Then we go into Crown of Thorns, where he asks the question, "You ever heard the story of Mr. Faded Glory?" He then notes, "If it's a broken kind of feeling, she'd have to tie me to the ceiling. A bad mood's a comin'. Better say your prayer, child. I want to tell you that I love you, but does it really matter?" So introduced at the start with Chloe Dancer and that love, and then just a couple minutes later we're hit with this. We're hit with the breakup that's there, and yet you can still feel Andy has those that true love for her, but just situations in life has kind of broken them. He notes, "I used to treat you like a lady. Now you're a substitute teacher. This bottle's not pretty. It's not a pretty sight. I owe the man some money, so I'm turning over, honey. You see, Mr. Faded Glory is once again doing time." Just lovely lyrics like that are sprinkled throughout this entire song, and the guitar slowly ramps up and revs up as the kind of emotion of the track rises as well. So what a lovely introduction to Mother Love Bone, man. I definitely got to check this EP out and more of their work, because that definitely piqued my interest in a heavy song that was fantastic. And now we're gonna go up to Soundgarden. We had Cornell on his own earlier. Now we're going Soundgarden with the track Birth Ritual, based on a riff written by drummer Matt Cameron, and saw its original appearance obviously in this, and also in a scene where Soundgarden plays it. So man, I gotta check this film out, man. This soundtrack's been banging so far. Let's get this on. Wow, Birth Ritual, Soundgarden, man, bringing the heat. Those crunchy riffs that were in there, just the guitar work that was swirling, Cornell's unbelievable vocal performance where he just hit those notes that you didn't even know existed, man. Wow, just an unbelievable track right here that it just shows. And I mean, I've listened to Soundgarden's whole catalog, those early years, and kind of going up to this point, interesting with kind of that Louder Than Love and then Bad Motorfinger, which I think is a record that is honestly up to par with Super Unknown, even though I know most people view Super Unknown as their masterpiece. I think just that heaviness, that almost metal-like heaviness that you have in there works so well with how powerful Cornell's voice is. And this track reminded me of some tunes off of Bad Motorfinger, man. And obviously the drumming was just in your face, powerful. This is one you just turn up as loud as you can and get lost in the music. And I think in the chorus, as you start the song and face this garden, I light a cigarette before the execution. So you kind of get, okay, garden, this is gonna be pleasant, this and that. Oh, now I'm lighting a cigarette before the execution. Now you see you're crying for every miracle, add another drug at every birth ritual, and you can't help but want to sing ritual as Cornell was going along there, man. He knows, I took the drug to make me stay, and now everything dies in shyness. I thought that was just a wonderful poetic line right there, man. And man, just a gut punch of a track that just is heavy and in your face, man. Quite enjoyed it, and we're gonna go back to a little Pearl Jam action with "State of Love and Trust" here. Lyrics written by Vedder and music co-written by Mike McCready and bassist Jeff Ament. The song was originally recorded during the sessions for Tint and appears on its reissue. We've Sean and I, my dad, did a full album reaction to Tint. It's up on the channel if you want to check that out. According to Jeff, the lyrics for this are based on what Vedder took from watching the film and added, quote, "I think he probably took a heavier angle on what the movie was about than a lot of people will, but that's Eddie, which is a beautiful thing." According to Cameron Crowe, the song is about battling with your instincts and love. Before a performance of the song, Vedder introduced it as a song about being faithful. So let's dive into this one. State of Love and Trust, bringing a very fast tempo type of track here, man. Eddie spewing lyrics out at a rapid pace, man, and it works. I love the moments of rawness in his vocal delivery on this. Again, we had a nice mini McCready solo at the end that was a bit heartfelt, and I mean the lyricism too. As we ramp up in the song, man, we note in the chorus, and I listen for the voice inside my head. Nothing, I'll do this one myself. Okay, so you're like a bit intrigued here. All right, where's he going with this? And then as the song goes on, it says, "And the barrel shakes aimed directly at my head. Oh, help me from myself." I guess that's where the band members were like, yeah, Eddie took it in a bit of a darker direction. And I listened from both sides of a friend. Nothing, I'll do this one myself. So, that just conjures up, kind of thoughts of suicide, or at least it does for me, or who knows, maybe I'm reading it too dark, but maybe Eddie and I are on the same page right there. Yet again, the instrumentation and mixing of this track was very well done. Very powerful tune. This whole soundtrack's just made of bangers right here, man. Can't go wrong, I don't think, with Pearl Jam too often, and this is another one that I'm glad I discovered, man. This is cool too, in the fact that you have so many of these name groups at the time contributing these original tunes, whereas obviously with a lot of soundtracks you're going to take something that was obviously previously released from a record and just kind of make a compilation. So this soundtrack's been blowing me away so far. And next up we're going to another group that was big in the scene, doesn't get brought up as much as kind of the big four bands. We got Mudhoney with the track Overblown here. I'm only familiar with their EP Super Fuzz Big Muff, which is a good EP, but I haven't listened to any of their actual studio work yet, and don't know this song. So another one of those that's only on YouTube, so let's cue it up. All right, Overblown, Mudhoney, bringing it, man. A bit of a humorous track at points, man, because he notes everybody loves us, everybody loves our town. That's why I'm thinking lately the time for leaving is now. So just in that first verse, you're kind of taken off guard, like, okay, well, what's going? And he notes, hey, it's all so overblown, man. It just all that attention and everything. They gave you your very own spotlight, just like some rock star. He notes, show him Stevie, and then we go into a really impressive guitar solo here. Not going to be one of my favorite tracks by any means, but still a good showcase and energy for Mudhoney here. I'm glad they got a spot on the soundtrack, and especially at the time, kind of bolster their name out, since they really were early on that grunge scene here, man. Don't have too much more to add than that. A pleasant tune. And now we're gonna go back to old Paul Westerberg here, going to Waiting for Somebody. So I'll be curious how this is going to differ from Dyslexic Heart. Another hit from Mr. Westerberg in my eyes here with Waiting for Somebody. Again, gets to the heart, I think, of what Westerberg is at best at that almost adolescent coming of age yearning for something and someone else here. And we get that in the very catchy chorus, all my life waiting for somebody. Got the hand claps in there, the cadence, the way that Westerberg's delivering the vocals here. You can't help but want to sing along with it yourself and resonate with it. You know, it's been down so long, doesn't really matter. This downtown home, been kicked and I've been spurred. You come along, it doesn't really matter. I'll go it alone, doesn't even hurt. Yet again, loneliness, that theme kind of pervading a lot of the tunes on this soundtrack here, man. The solid guitar work, and yet again shows that Westerberg's penchant for writing a very hooky, catchy song, and yet still being able to bring forth that lyricism that resonates with those that feel a little bit out there and alone is impressive, man. So from one of my favorites to another, Jimi Hendrix now, May This Be Love, of course, off of the one of the great records of the 60s, the great debut albums ever, Are You Experienced? And this is interesting because this doesn't have the roaring Hendrix guitar solos that you might expect on a soundtrack like this. This is a bit more of a thoughtful, somber, touching tune by Hendrix and Company here, man. So let's cue this one up. May This Be Love, Jimi Hendrix Experience. Bravo to all involved in this tune, man. It is a standout for me on this debut, even preferring it to some of the bigger hits that, you know, have just been played so much at this point. I think, too, got to give some love to Mitch Mitchell, one of my favorite drummers, honestly, of all time. The way he's able to set the mood in that introduction before Jimmy comes in with the very smooth waterfall, the very serene track, man, peaceful in many ways, even whenever we kind of have the electric guitar kind of screaming here and there. It never feels wild or out of control, man. I like the line, some people say daydreaming's for all the lazy-minded fools with nothing else to do. So let them laugh at me, so just as long as I have you to see me through, I have nothing to lose. Hendrix, man, a really strong songwriter in my estimation as well. Just love everything about Hendrix and the Jimi Hendrix Experience, man. And I love that they included this track. Maybe for some people that hadn't dove into Hendrix's work, and you know, a different side of him as well than what you're used to with all the hits. So great tune right there, and only two songs left. We're gonna go now. Screamin' Trees, Nearly Lost You. It was the first single released in support of their sixth record, Sweet Oblivion, perhaps their best known song. It was a moderate success on the radio, partly because of its appearance on the soundtrack, a group that I have heard of but not heard much of, if that makes sense. So let's cue this up. Nearly Lost You, Screaming Trees. As the song was going on, I had to do a quick Google search, and now I'm reminded that Mark Lanegan, of course, the lead singer of Screaming Trees, and then I know him a little bit more for his work with Queens of the Stone Age. Later on in the 2000s here, he's got a very strong voice, and I love the lyrics. Did you hear the distant cry, calling me back to my sins, like the one you knew before, calling me back once again? So already just thrusted into this track. And there's a level of intrigue and like, oh, okay, this guy's about to go down kind of a dark path, and yet the way that he sings it is in almost a soft, welcoming delivery in the chorus. I nearly lost you there, and it's taken us somewhere. I nearly lost you there. Let's try to sleep now. A lot of lyrics about sleeping, man. I'm down with that. But yet again, a solid tune. The more it got underway, the more I was like, I maybe have heard this. There was a sense of familiarity there, and strong instrumentation. You definitely could see how it was single ready, man. Pleasant on the ears. I dug it. Don't have much more to add to that. And now we will cue up the closer, which for some reason as well is not on Spotify. It's going to be Drowned by the Smashing Pumpkins, going with the full 8-minute long version. The song became a moderate radio hit in mid-92 and gave the band significant exposure just before work commenced on one of my favorite 90s records, Siamese Dream. Also have a full album review of that up if you want to check it out. Drown was to be released as a commercial single, but Billy Corgan explained, we wanted it to be a single, we were pushing for it, I was even willing to make it a video. Radio stations were playing it, and when it came time for the third single, they said Screaming Trees. And I was like, Screaming Trees? But what label is Alice in Chains on, and what label are Screaming Trees on? Epic, which is the label that put out the soundtrack, and that's what killed the song. Music politics right there at their finest, ladies and gentlemen. But let's cue this one up, and then at the end I'll give my favorite tracks and overall score to this fantastic soundtrack. All right, Drown, Smashing Pumpkins, a perfect capstone, I think, to this record. With that, we had about 3.5, 4 minutes of that guitar work just being manipulated and whatnot. Lots of distortion and feedback just droning on throughout. Kind of reminded me of another song that we actually did for Mark, a song, part of a song battle for Martha, had some of those similar themes. The song itself, man, was just fantastic. Would have fit great on Siamese Dream. It kind of reminded me a bit of one of my favorites off that record, Soma, the way the quiet and loud dynamics were contrasted in here, man. I enjoyed the lyricism. No matter where you are, I can still hear you when you drown. You traveled very far just to see you all come around. So already that sense of somebody's been lost and death is introduced in that first verse. And Billy does a wonderful job writing that story out farther as we get through the song. Had a guitar solo in the middle there as well. That was always impressive. I love this era of the Smashing Pumpkins, and just the effects that they use on the guitar, and the lyricism that just kind of hit you right in the heart. I think this song had that, man. And he notes at the end, yesterday the sky was you, and I still feel the same. Nothing left for me to do. I wish I could fly. I wish I could lie. And then he finally bids goodbye to this person again. And then we ended out with that 4-minute instrumental section, man, which closes not only the song, but I think wraps up the whole grunge sound of this whole record that we had here in a beautiful way. So fantastic track right there. That's going to be one of my favorites. As we now move to my favorite songs, it's going to be Drown. Of course, Wood by Alice in Chains is going to be up there. I got to go Seasons by Cornell. That was fantastic. I loved Chloe Dancer / Crown of Thorns by Mother Love Bone. Got to check more of their stuff out. State of Love and Trust by Pearl Jam was great. Waiting for Somebody by Westerberg. I mean, this soundtrack was just fantastic. I don't think there's a weak tune on it. And for being over an hour long, it sure didn't feel like it. So overall score for me, man, I'm gonna be at a 9.25 on this. Got to be up there with some of the best soundtracks I think of all time. And when you add to the fact that it was less of a greatest compilation, so to speak, taking stuff that people already had done and released. This rather with so much new material had to have been a treat at the time. So a really strong one here. Might be the favorite thing you've brought to this channel or suggested so far, Mark. Just really love this one, man. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your favorites from this soundtrack? What are your thoughts on the movie? I'll be sure to watch that here. Kind of piqued my interest, and some bands I still need to dive into as well. So until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel in any way, you can check out our Patreon page where you can get early access and even suggest stuff for us to feature on the channel. Link will be down below and also on the end screen here in a few seconds. But thanks again to Mark, man. Really enjoyable. Shout out to the grunge scene. Shout out to the Singles soundtrack. And until next time, y'all, thanks for watching, happy listening, and I will see you.